The sun dipped below the endless horizon, casting long shadows over a rugged, windswept coast. The year was 1587. A group of ships had pushed into this seemingly desolate land, promises of new beginnings echoing in the minds of those on board. They called it Roanoke, a shimmering island nestled in the outer banks of North Carolina. But what should have been the dawn of hope was destined to become an enduring enigma, a silent whisper of a story lost to time. The very air here hinted at secrets buried beneath centuries of salt and sand. A colony had been established, fragile yet ambitious, with visions of prosperity and survival. Among its earliest settlers were men and women seeking refuge from the chaos of Europe, seeking a fresh start under the halo of Queen Elizabeth's reign. Their leaders, like John White, a painter turned explorer, carried dreams of establishing a permanent foothold. White's canvas had yet to capture the story, but his journey was already woven into history's tapestry. The colony was small, just over 100 souls, living on hopes and fragile supplies. White's presence was vital, his artistic eye capturing the land's beauty, yet also documenting the hardships, the droughts, the conflicts, the isolation. But then, in 1587, he returned to England, promising to swiftly come back with supplies and reinforcements. Days turned into months, months into years, and the silence grew heavier with each passing day. When White finally returned, 3 years later, the coast was awaiting him with a hushed dread. The island's sheltering trees bore witness to an abandonment so complete that nothing seemed out of place, except for one haunting detail. The word Croatoan, carved into a post, a name tied to a nearby island and possibly a clue, but no signs of the colonists themselves. The colony was gone, erased without explanation, swallowed by the wilderness or something darker. As history recorded, they had vanished, no sign of a struggle, no bodies, just an empty settlement, haunted by the silent echoes of a lost people. Still, beneath this tale lies a question that gnaws at minds more than 4 centuries later. Was it truly disappearance? Or was there more, a secret that history has tried, so far, to bury? The collective memory of Roanoke is haunted by the unknown, by the void where lives once thrived. It invites us to ponder whether the story is simply one of failure, or perhaps something more complex. Could they have been taken? Assimilated? Or did circumstances turn against them, forcing them into an existence that no one dared to record? Some say the colony's fate was sealed by conflict. Others argue it was a moment of betrayal, or perhaps something even less comprehensible, an inexplicable end to innocence. But what if the narrative we have is only a fragment of a far greater story? What if the stories that followed, the rumors, the disappearances, the strange sightings, are clues to a truth buried beneath the shroud of time? What if the colonists did not simply vanish but were hidden away by forces beyond understanding? It's a question that echoes through the corridors of history, as insistent as the restless wind that sweeps the deserted shores of Roanoke. For centuries, scholars, explorers, and conspiracy seekers have tried to piece together the puzzle. Some suggest that the colonists integrated with local tribes, adopting their ways and fading into obscurity. Others whisper of hostile forces, either native or European, who eradicated them. And still, others speak of something impossible. A secret moved into the shadows, something that defies the borders of reason and logic. And yet, the mystery persists. Each new discovery, an archaeological dig, a historical document, an unexplainable artifact, raises more questions than answers. It's as if the story refuses to be laid to rest, whispering from the depths of the past, urging us to look beyond the obvious. To see the story not of a simple disappearance, but perhaps of an escape, a betrayal, or an invasion unseen. This is the story they have tried to erase. A story cloaked in shadow, waiting patiently, perhaps forever, for someone willing to listen. So, I ask you, what if the true fate of Roanoke is not a vanished colony, but an untold chapter? A chapter where silence is evidence of something more profound. A chapter where the missing are not only lost, but hidden, somewhere, in plain sight, beneath the layers of history and myth. And as we begin to peel back these layers, we move ever closer to understanding that some stories are not meant to be forgotten. They're only waiting to be rediscovered. Deep within the shadowy embrace of the forest, legends whisper through the rustling leaves and twisted branches. The air is thick with stories that have lingered for centuries, tales passed down by villagers, explorers, and the few who dared to wander these woods long ago. They speak of strange markings etched into the bark of ancient trees, symbols so perplexing and intricate that many believed they held secrets from a forgotten civilization. As dawn's pale light filters through the canopy, piercing the darkness with slivers of gold, the camera weaves through the dense undergrowth, revealing glimpses of carvings, faint, weathered scars on gnarled trunks. These markings are not random. Their patterns echo with an otherworldly precision, a language lost to time but not forgotten by those sensitive enough to feel its presence. Stories tell of explorers in the 18th and 19th centuries who first glimpsed these symbols during treacherous expeditions into uncharted territories. Some spoke of strange lights flickering near the trees at night, while others claimed to have heard inexplicable whispers carried on the wind, a language they couldn't comprehend but couldn't ignore either. Among these explorers, a few found themselves haunted by recurring dreams of messages inscribed deep within the woods, beckoning them to uncover a hidden truth. One such story involves a renowned cartographer, whose journal entries depict a relentless obsession with deciphering these symbols. He described moments of near madness, scribbling frantically in his notebooks, convinced that the markings were part of an ancient map, a guide to something buried beneath the forest floor. As his notes progress, the lines blur between reality and hallucination, a testament to the forest's oppressive, mysterious aura. In the 20th century, early hunters and travelers reported encountering solitary figures draped in tattered cloaks, standing silently amidst the trees, their eyes fixed upon the carvings. These figures seemed to come and go with the fog, leaving behind no footprints but an unsettling sense of being watched. Rumors spread that these were guardians of the forest's secrets, their purpose intertwined with the symbols etched into the wood. Some believed these carvings were warnings, messages from an ancient civilization that once thrived here, now long vanished but still whispering. What makes these legends so compelling and haunting is the eerie consistency of the symbols. Some carvings resemble abstract geometric patterns, while others seem to depict human-like figures or celestial symbols. Are these merely primitive markings, or do they encode a message? Could they be clues left behind by explorers from another time? Alien visitors from distant worlds, perhaps, trying to communicate through a language hidden within the very fabric of the forest? The question lingers. Are these legends rooted in truth, or are they echoes of human imagination? Stories crafted to explain the inexplicable? As modern hikers tread softly through the woods, some whisper of feeling an unexplainable presence, a faint vibration that resonates in the bones. They find themselves pausing at certain trees, senses heightened as if the forest itself is watching, waiting for someone brave enough to unravel its secrets. In exploring these legends, humanity confronts its own desire to find meaning in the unknown, to decipher the symbols that seem to hum with an ancient power. Are we chasing after fragments of a hidden past, or are these messages deliberately placed? Could they be clues pointing toward something monumental, an undiscovered truth buried beneath the roots and shadows? These questions linger like a fog over the woods, blurring the line between reality and myth. Maybe somewhere deep within the forest, beneath layers of moss and time, lie the answers. Messages carved by hands long gone but never truly silenced. Or perhaps the legend itself is a carefully woven tale, designed to keep the forest's secrets safe from prying eyes. The camera lingers on a solitary tree, its bark etched with strange symbols that seem to shimmer faintly in the early morning light. A gust stirs the leaves, and the whispers grow louder, an echo of stories that refuse to die. As the scene fades, the question remains. Is this legend an invitation, an open door to discover something monumental, or merely a mirage created by the restless minds of those who dared to seek the unknown? The forest holds its secrets tight, hiding its truths beneath layers of myth and shadow, waiting for the next seeker to come along and unravel the mysteries woven into its ancient fabric. The darkened room was thick with anticipation. Pale beams of late afternoon sunlight seeped through dusty curtains, casting elongated shadows across the cluttered table where age-old carvings rested beneath a flickering light. The silence was heavy, punctuated only by the faint scratch of graphite as the expert sketched and analyzed, his eyes fixed on each symbol with a mixture of curiosity and reverence. Outside, the distant call of a lone crow echoed, a haunting reminder that the secrets locked within these ancient carvings had remained untouched for centuries, until now. As he leaned closer, his brow furrowed in concentration, the analyst tapped a finger to his chin, pondering the intricate patterns etched into the stone. These carvings weren't merely decorative, they seemed purposeful, encoded. The symbols echoed a language long thought lost or perhaps deliberately hidden. His fingers traced the contours, comparing each line with the familiar signs from the nearby Algonquian artifacts. A tentative smile flickered across his face as a connection sparked, a resemblance, subtle but undeniably there. In a quiet voice, he murmured, "These symbols, they're not arbitrary, but a constructed language. A form of communication intended to survive, to preserve a story." His words carried a weight as if the carvings bore witness to a story that refused to be silenced by time. He flipped through pages of historical references, cross-referencing symbols with known Algonquian glyphs, noting the similarities and deviations. Some characters appeared to be stylized versions, adapted for specific purposes, perhaps a mnemonic, a warning, or a ritual. A sudden shift in music, an unsettling drone, began to fill the background, as if the very air vibrated with the weight of unsaid truths. The expert's eyes widened as he uncovered a pattern, an arrangement that didn't just resemble Algonquian symbols, but seemed to encode a message, a hidden message, concealed beneath layers of meaning and time. What secrets might these symbols hide? Could they be a map, guiding future generations to a forgotten truth? Or perhaps a warning about the consequences of greed and exploitation? The carvings seemed to pulsate with a life of their own, embodying a spectral testimony that defied simple interpretation. He paused, listening intently. The room grew colder, the shadows darker, as if the carvings themselves were awakening. Every mark on the stones now resonated with a silent energy, and the suspicion that these symbols were more than mere language intensified. They might be a repository of ancestral knowledge, woven into the very fabric of the land, waiting patiently for someone brave enough to decipher their messages. He reached for a worn, leather-bound notebook, flipping through pages filled with notes, sketches, and legends. An old story surfaced, one about the colonists who had arrived, bringing with them not just ships and weapons, but symbols and beliefs that would clash and merge with indigenous traditions. It was possible these carvings were an attempt to preserve something clandestine, dormant wisdom, encoded in symbols that could only be truly understood through a lens of deep cultural context. As night approached, the expert's thoughts raced. He wondered if the symbols were meant to reveal a hidden history, one that painted a different narrative from the one accepted by mainstream archaeology. Perhaps they offered a glimpse into the true origins of the colonists, or even a warning left behind, a message for those who would come after with curiosity or greed. A flicker of realization crossed his face as he considered the possibility that the carvings might contain instructions, directions to a location, a sacred site concealed beneath layers of earth and time. Or maybe they were a coded plea, a desperate attempt by ancestors to communicate across centuries with those willing to listen. The echoes of the past seemed to whisper through the carvings, calling out to anyone daring enough to decode their silent language. Every symbol was a fragment of a larger puzzle, a piece of a story that deserved to be told, no matter how uncomfortable or controversial. As he stared at the array of symbols, his mind filled with questions. Who created these carvings? What knowledge did they contain? And most profoundly, what secrets might they still be hiding, waiting to be uncovered in the darkness of the past? The night drew on, and the room became a shrine of silent witness to centuries of silence. The carvings, with their cryptic glyphs and mysterious shapes, beckoned him to look deeper, to listen closer, to unlock their stories. As the shadows lengthened, he knew that this was only the beginning, a first step into a labyrinth of hidden truths, where each symbol was a doorway, and each discovery led further into the unknown. The carvings had spoken, not with words, but through their silent language, and it was up to him to unravel what they had tried so long to tell, if only someone had the courage to listen. Beneath the flickering glow of a dying lamp, the room stretched into shadows, each corner whispering secrets of a past long buried. The old pages, stained with time and neglect, splayed open on a dusty table, their cryptic symbols dancing in the dim light like ghostly echoes of a forgotten language. Every line, every curve seemed deliberately placed, as if someone had taken painstaking care to encode a message within the chaos of ink and parchment. These symbols, initially indecipherable, now loomed as the only remaining link to an enigmatic history, a history that refused to stay silent. In the silent moment, as if the very air held its breath, a young researcher leaned closer, her eyes darting between the symbols and her notes. Her brow furrowed, lips pursed in concentration, until slowly a realization dawned. The patterns began to align, the chaos started to form a coherent structure. With tentative fingers, she traced the shapes, deciphering what appeared to be words, instructions, a secret plea from the past. The message revealed itself like trembling whispers in her mind. A set of coordinates, a location hidden deep within uncharted wilderness. It was not just a random point on a map but a precise marker, one that had been meticulously concealed beneath layers of cipher and symbolism. The words whispered of a purpose, something vital, something dangerous, that the colonists had gone to great lengths to hide. Was this an escape route? A refuge? Or perhaps something even more profound, a key to understanding their ultimate fate? As she translated each line, the dread and hope intertwined within her veins, fueling her determination. The symbols spoke of a place, one they called the hiding ground, a site where they believed salvation lay, or perhaps where secrets would finally be unburied. The coordinates pointed to a remote valley, nestled away from prying eyes, concealed within dense foliage and steeped in legends of disappearances and whispers of the cursed. A chill crept down her spine as she read the final line, the last fragment of a message left for someone, perhaps for her. Asterisk. Seek where the shadow meets the sun, and the truth shall be revealed. A cryptic instruction that pulled her into a labyrinth of questions. What was the significance of that place? Why all the secrecy? And most haunting of all, what fate awaited those who dared to find it? In that moment, her mind flooded with images. Colonists fleeing, hiding, dying, their hopes buried beneath layers of lies and silence. Did they leave behind evidence of their torment? Did the symbols serve as a warning or a guide? The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a discovery, it was the echo of lives lost, stories erased, and secrets meant to stay hidden. She looked back at the symbols, realizing that every squiggle, every straight line, and every star-like figure had a purpose. It was a map, a message encrypted by desperation, a plea for survival or perhaps retribution. It challenged the very notion of silence, demanded that the darkness from which it came see the light of truth. But with every revelation came peril. The more she uncovered, the more she felt the weight of unseen eyes watching her. Those who sought to keep this secret buried forever. Yet, the call of the truth was too strong. She knew that this message, this map, might be the key to unlocking the mystery of those lost colonists. What they endured, why they vanished, and whether their legacy was truly gone or still waiting in the shadows. As her finger moved over the coordinates, she felt the unspoken promise of discovery, the possibility of uncovering a truth so profound that it could rewrite history itself. The symbols had spoken, and now it was her turn to follow their silent call, to venture into the unknown, into the depths where light dared not reach. She closed her notes carefully, as if sealing a fragile relic, and prepared to leave the room behind, fully aware that her journey had only just begun. In the silence that followed, a distant rumble seemed to echo through the walls, an ominous reminder that some secrets are too dangerous to reveal, that some messages are meant to stay hidden. But she stepped forward anyway, driven by the compelling need to uncover what had been concealed, to face whatever darkness lay ahead, knowing that this was more than a quest for answers. It was a fight to resurrect the voices of those who tried to erase themselves from history, to give life to the echoes they desperately wanted to silence forever. In the quiet shadows of dawn, the air thick with a mix of mystery and reverence, we find ourselves on the edge of an ancient forest. Its towering trees stretch skyward like silent witnesses to centuries of secrets, its thick canopy filtering the weak, golden sunlight into a fragmented pattern on the ground below. This isn't just a place of natural beauty. It's a landscape riddled with stories, whispered through carvings, symbols etched into stone, and legends passed down through generations. Here, beneath the canopy's silent watch, lies a puzzle that has confounded archaeologists and historians alike for decades. The first voice belongs to Dr. Evelyn Marsh, a respected historian whose career has been dedicated to deciphering ancient civilizations. Her voice, measured and reflective, pierces the quiet as she explains, "The carvings are unlike any other I've encountered. They contain symbols that seem to transcend any single culture, almost as if they were trying to communicate something universal, something that spans time and space." Her eyes flicked to the intricate patterns etched into a nearby stone, weathered by time but no less provocative. But not all truths are etched in stone. The indigenous tribes of the region, the ancestors of this land, have long held their own stories about the carvings. Their elders speak of a sacred language, a code passed from generation to generation, that reveals secrets of their origins, secrets meant to be protected, not revealed to outsiders. One elder, a wise woman whose voice is gravelly yet gentle, recounts her people's understanding. The symbols are our ancestors' words. They tell of a time before colonization, before explorers arrived, when this land was alive with purpose. Those carvings speak of a covenant, the balance of life, the respect owed to the earth, and the warnings against greed. Yet, these truths have often been silenced or dismissed, submerged beneath layers of colonial narratives and historical manipulation. For decades, explorers and colonial authorities sought to understand, and often exploit, the mysteries of these carvings, claiming they held clues to lost civilizations or potential riches. The narrative was manipulated, sometimes outright fabricated, to serve political and economic agendas. The official story told us that these symbols were mere tribal art, primitive markings, not meant for outsiders to understand. However, recent archaeological finds have begun to challenge this sanitized narrative. Excavations unearthed artifacts bearing similar symbols, some remarkably sophisticated, hinting at a complex society that thrived long before colonization. A new generation of archaeologists, driven by a collective curiosity and respect, is peeling back layers of misinformation. As they uncover more evidence, the conspiracy deepens. Who truly knew what these carvings meant? Were they deliberately misinterpreted, dismissed, or concealed to serve interests far removed from historical truth? We turn to another voice, that of Professor James Caldwell, an archaeologist whose recent discoveries in the area reveal a pattern of deliberate concealment. What we're finding suggests there was a concerted effort to hide or distort the meaning of these carvings. The older records, photos, sketches, reports, are inconsistent and sometimes outright fabricated, he states, his voice edged with frustration and suspicion. It's as if someone wanted us to see only what they allowed us to see, to keep certain truths buried underneath layers of misinformation. The trail of deception extends beyond academics. Some indigenous communities have expressed suspicion toward outside investigators, fearing that the truth about their ancestors' sacred symbols could be exploited once more. A younger indigenous leader, whose family has protected these stories for generations, emphasizes this point. Our ancestors entrusted us with their sacred marks. We understand their meaning, and we guard it fiercely. Outsiders who seek to uncover these truths must respect that sacredness, and recognize that some mysteries are not ours to reveal. As the investigation deepens, so does the complexity of the mystery. Recent drone footage captures a series of carvings hidden within inaccessible parts of the forest, suggesting a coordinated effort to obscure their location. The more we learn, the more questions arise. Was there an ancient conspiracy, perhaps involving indigenous tribes, early explorers, and colonial powers, to control or conceal the true purpose of these symbols? Who orchestrated this effort, and for what reason? Did it aim to protect sacred knowledge, or was it driven by greed, fear, or political agendas? Alongside these questions, a pattern emerges pointing to a broader conspiracy. An underground network of artifacts, documents, and oral histories hint at a deliberate effort to erase or manipulate the history of this land. Some believe that the carvings hold the key to understanding a lost civilization's advanced knowledge that could challenge or even overthrow current historical narratives. Suppressing this information might have been crucial for maintaining power, control, and economic interests. Throughout this journey, one figure remains central. Who truly knew what these carvings meant? Was the knowledge lost with the elders? Was it intentionally obscured by colonial authorities eager to reshape history? Or does the truth still lie beneath the layers of deception, waiting to be uncovered by those willing to look beyond what they've been led to believe? The narrative, like the forest itself, is tangled and layered. It invites us to question what we accept as history, to consider the silenced voices of indigenous peoples, and to challenge the narratives constructed by those who sought to control the story. The carvings continue to beckon, silent witnesses to a conspiracy that has lasted centuries, whispering secrets that some will go to great lengths to keep hidden. As we move forward, the question remains: who truly knew what those carvings meant. And why has that knowledge been so carefully guarded, erased, manipulated, silenced? These are the echoes of a conspiracy rooted deep in the very fabric of this land, a story that demands to be told, no matter how dark or difficult it may be to uncover. The forest holds its secrets tight, but with each revelation, it becomes clearer that the truth is out there, hidden, suppressed, waiting to be found by those brave enough to see beyond the shadows and listen to what they've tried to erase. The air grows heavier as the expedition presses forward into the dense, untouched wilderness. The trees, ancient and towering, whisper secrets to the wind, their roots tangled beneath the unforgiving soil, as if reluctant to reveal what lies beneath. Shadows dance between the thick foliage, flickering like lost memories flickering just beyond reach, shadows that beckon the willing to follow deeper into the unknown. The team moves cautiously but purposefully, their footsteps muffled by layers of moss and fallen leaves. Every crackling branch and distant cry of unseen creatures heightens the senses, alerting them that they are entering a domain untouched by time, a place where the past refuses to stay dead. The explorers clutch their instruments and notes, their eyes constantly scanning the terrain, searching for anything out of the ordinary, anything that might push the story ahead. Suddenly, amidst the tangled undergrowth, a faint shape emerges, an unnatural, weathered carving, crudely etched into the bark of an ancient tree. Its lines are still visible despite decades, maybe centuries, of decay. The symbol resembles the markings they have seen before, cryptic and suggestive of a language long forgotten but somehow preserved in the forest's silent witness. It's a tangible fragment of history, a whisper of those who once inhabited these lands, their stories lost to time and nature's relentless reclaiming. The team exchanges breathless glances, trembling with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. They mark the spot, knowing this is yet another piece of the puzzle. The trail is growing clearer, yet more tangled, more mysterious. As they move beyond, an unsettling discovery awaits. More carvings, this time arranged in what appears to be a sequence. A map perhaps, hinting at a forgotten route or sacred site. The symbols scream of a purpose, of rituals long vanished but etched into wood and stone as if resisting the erasure of memory. As they follow this trail deeper into the forest's heart, the terrain becomes increasingly treacherous. Roots rise like gnarled hands from the earth, and the canopy thickens, filtering scant light into a dull, green gloom. The crew fights against the oppressive silence, punctuated only by their own breathing and the distant, haunting calls of unseen creatures. Every step feels like a step back through centuries, an unspoken invitation to uncover what has been hidden for so long. And yet, the deeper they go, the more they sense they're not alone. An inexplicable phenomenon begins to manifest, a faint, almost imperceptible hum that seems to emanate from the very ground beneath their feet. The air grows colder, the sense of presence more tangible, as if the forest itself is alive and watching, guarding its secrets jealously. Then, without warning, they stumble upon a clearing, a space that feels unnaturally preserved amid the chaos of the wilderness. In its center stands a strange monument, carved from stone, weathered but still imposing. It bears symbols similar to those earlier encountered, but with more complexity, more chaos woven into its design. On its surface, faint etchings depict human figures, some twisted in anguish, others reaching upwards as if pleading, frozen in stone for eternity. This cenotaph of lost souls feels like a shrine to the unknown, a testament to something monumental buried beneath centuries of natural reclamation. The team's breath catches as they realize this is not merely an ancient marker but perhaps the key to understanding the entire story, a culmination of all the clues collected so far. Time seems to stand still as they stand in reverent silence, deciphering the cryptic images, trying to piece together a narrative that transcends language and time. The questions multiply. Who built this? Why did they go to such lengths to carve their stories into the land? What happened here? And, most pressing of all, are we close to uncovering the full story, or are we merely scratching the surface of something far more profound and terrifying? As the spectral shadows lengthen and the forest seems to hold its breath, the reality begins to dawn. This is not just an exploration. It's an unearthing of a forbidden chapter of history, a story written in blood, carved into wood and stone, almost erased by the relentless march of nature. The signs point to a truth buried so deep that it threatens to upend everything the team believes, everything they know about human history, about the very fabric of what's real. In the quiet, a faint, almost inaudible whisper lingers, an echo from a voice long silenced but living still in the shadows. The question hangs unanswered yet undeniable. Are we close enough to finally unveil the full story, or are we destined to linger forever on the edge of revelations best left buried? The forest seems to hold its breath, waiting as the explorers prepare to go further, deeper into the darkness, knowing that with every step, they walk closer to truths that could shatter their understanding of the world itself. In the suffocating silence of the forest, the moon cast a pallid glow through the dense canopy, illuminating a path so faint it seemed almost lost to time. Shadows danced with the whisper of wind, as if carrying secrets from depths unseen. A lone figure moved cautiously, each step deliberate, eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of a clue, an anomaly that might reveal what had long been hidden from the world. The air grew heavier as the explorer pushed forward, guided by fragments of stories, half-remembered whispers of old legends. Rumors of a concealed refuge, a secret sanctuary nestled somewhere deep within these woods, had persisted for generations. Yet, no one knew if it was legend or truth, until now. Suddenly, a faint, almost imperceptible break in the underbrush. The figure hesitated, heart pounding in the stillness. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for this moment. Instinct drove them forward, and with a cautious push aside of tangled vines, they revealed what had been obscured from view. An opening, a hidden gap that seemed almost crafted, not natural. Creeping closer, the explorer discovered an irregular entrance, partly covered by earth and leaf litter, suggesting it had been sealed for decades, perhaps even longer. Their breath quickened as they brushed away centuries of debris, exposing a dark passage, descending into the unknown. The ancient smell of dampness enveloped them, thick and earthy, as if the very walls whispered of stories buried beneath centuries of silence. The air was cold, tinged with the scent of moss and something more elusive, history itself waiting to be uncovered. With a cautious step, they descended into the concealed cavity, each footfall echoing softly off the stone beneath. Inside, the passage widened into a hollowed-out space, a natural chamber, perhaps, or a man-made refuge carved into the earth. The darkness was profound, but the faint glint of objects scattered across the ground beckoned further investigation. Fingers trembling, the explorer sifted through the debris, a mix of old bones, rusted tools, fragments of leather, and faded cloth. Evidence of prolonged use, of a time when this hidden place might have sheltered someone from the world or stored secrets too vital to be revealed. Every piece told a story, of desperation, of protection, of concealment. In the far corner, partially buried under layers of dirt, they uncovered a battered wooden box. Its carvings were worn, its lock long broken. With bated breath, they pried it open, revealing a collection of brittle scrolls, photographs faded beyond recognition, and artifacts wrapped carefully in worn cloth. A collection of memories, secrets of those who had once sought refuge here. The weight of silence pressed heavily as the explorers studied the contents. Evidence that this concealed space had served as more than just a hiding spot. It had been a sanctuary, an archive of truths too dangerous for the outside world. These relics hinted at stories of resistance, survival, perhaps even rebellion, concealed beneath layers of earth and deception. Could this be the final piece of the puzzle? The discovery of this hidden sanctuary seemed to tie together the fragments of history and whispers of the past, illuminating a part of the story long thought lost. In the deepest shadows of the forest, amidst decay and obscurity, lay an unspoken truth waiting to be fully uncovered. Yet, as the realization sank in, a question loomed larger. What more was concealed within these walls? Was this truly the end of the search, or was this only the beginning? Could the secrets held here finally provide the answers they had been chasing all along, or would they unravel even deeper mysteries, pulling them further into a darkness from which there was no return? The explorer's gaze lingered on the relics, heartbeat steady yet heavy with anticipation. This sanctuary, forgotten by time, might be the last chapter in a story that refused to stay buried. It beckoned with the promise of truth, but also with the threat of revelations too profound, too dangerous, to be easily understood. As they stepped back into the shadows of the forest, clutching the fragile artifacts, a whisper seemed to drift on the wind, mocking, warning. The past was alive here, protected, concealed. And now, they had found the door that might finally unlock the final answer. Or, perhaps, unleash something far darker. The line between discovery and peril blurred as the night closed in around them, leaving only the faint echo of secrets that tried to erase themselves but could never truly be forgotten. The screen remained shrouded in dark silence for a moment longer, as if holding its breath before revealing a truth thought forever buried beneath layers of time and silence. Slowly, the scene fades into a haunting montage of ancient reenactments. Shadows dance across rough-hewn walls as figures clad in colonial garments move with purpose, carving symbols into stone, whispering secrets to one another, their faces etched with urgency and fear. These images are reconstructed to echo the past, an attempt to breathe life into stories long silenced, stories that defy the sanitized narratives handed down over centuries. The voice begins, a deep, resonant tone that seems to echo from the very shadows, taking us back in time. A colonial settler, rugged and worn, stands before a roughly hewn stone wall, his hand gripping a chisel with determined purpose. He is accompanied by others, collaborators or perhaps rivals, in a clandestine effort to inscribe messages that carry weight beyond their own comprehension. Their carvings, crude yet intentional, include complex symbols, isolated words, and cryptic images. Some appear to be warnings, others, perhaps, maps or codes. Each mark carries a flicker of defiance, a plea for recognition amid the chaos of a budding nation. Interweaved with these reenactments are close-up shots of weathered stones, close enough to discern faint carvings that have endured centuries of wind, rain, and neglect. Even now, beneath the discoloration, their outlines hint at meanings just beyond reach. Hand-drawn diagrams and photographs of these artifacts are meticulously analyzed, revealing patterns and motifs that seem to transcend their immediate context. A voiceover delves into a meticulous analysis. What do these markings tell us about the settlers who carved them? Were they merely survivalists, or did they have their own secret language? A code, preserving truths too dangerous for the official record. The symbols suggest a consciousness aware of constant threat, security measured in secrecy, messages hidden in plain sight. As these thoughts unfold, the screen shows experts examining the carvings, linguists, historians, cryptographers, all trying to decode this silent language from a distant past. The narrative threads weave seamlessly into connecting clues, alignments of symbols with known historical events, references to conflicts buried in obscure archives, whispers of dissent that echo through time. An ancient map appears, detailed with strange markings that challenge conventional history, hinting at a hidden network of settlers who refused to be erased. Their carvings, deliberate and precise, are extraordinary in their implications, suggesting that these early colonists might have had access to knowledge, alliances, or motives long obscured by dominant narratives. A segment of the film pauses on a rare discovery, a carved message that appears to be a warning or perhaps a call to action. Its message is partially deciphered, a phrase, or perhaps a name, linked to a forbidden chapter of history. It sparks a wave of questions. If these messages were meant to be covert, what truths were they trying to conceal? Were they the remnants of a secret resistance or a lost society within the colonists themselves? The discoveries challenge the very foundation of accepted history, forcing us to contemplate what has been hidden, what has been deliberately erased. Then come the emotional moments. Family artifacts uncovered where the carvings were found, personal tokens, children's toys, relics of daily life, intertwining with the carvings, hinting at lives lived and truths kept secret from the outside world. The voice asks evocatively, what sacrifices were made to keep these secrets alive? What stories were lost in the silence? As the camera zooms out from these intimate relics, it circles back to the larger picture, the implications for our understanding of history. These carvings, these messages, reveal a narrative not just of survival but of resistance, a covert defiance against an oppressive force, perhaps a colonial power that sought to erase dissent but failed. They demonstrate that even in the earliest days of colonization, there were voices trying to preserve a truth, hidden beneath layers of lies, buried in silence, yet enduring in stone. The scene shifts once again to experts debating the significance of these findings. A historian states, if these messages are authentic, and the evidence suggests they are, they redefine what we know about the early colonists. They were not merely settlers or victims. They were also survivors, strategists, and perhaps revolutionaries, carving their destiny into the stones of their oppressors' structures. Emotional resonance peak as the narration asks, what do these messages mean for our history? Are we ready to confront the possibility that the story we've been told is only part of the truth? That the echoes of resistance, of dissent, still resonate beneath the surface of conventional history, waiting for us to listen? The camera slowly pulls back, revealing a vast landscape, the etched stones, the remnants of a forgotten struggle, set against a sky darkening with the weight of unspoken stories. The final shot lingers on a specific carving, an intricate symbol that seems to connect all the different messages, an emblem of defiance, a silent testament that some truths refuse to be erased. The screen darkens, leaving viewers with a haunting question, echoing through the silence. What do these messages truly mean for our understanding of history? And are we willing to listen? In the shrouded silence of the forest, where shadows stretch longer than the truth itself, lies the unspoken question that haunts every researcher's mind. Could we ever uncover the full story buried beneath layers of time and secrecy? As daylight filters through dense canopies, casting fractured light onto the earth below, the air is thick with the weight of possibilities yet unconfirmed. These woods, silent witnesses to centuries of hidden history, whisper tales of civilizations that thrived in secrecy, whispering truths that have been deliberately concealed. What if the secrets encoded among these ancient trees carry the power to redefine everything we think we know about our past? Imagine a world where the discoveries unearthed beneath this verdant canopy don't just fill gaps in our history, but rewrite entire chapters, altering our understanding of human survival, technological progression, and societal evolution. The implications are staggering. Could these findings serve as the missing link in the puzzle of what truly persists beyond the surface of historical records? Could the ancient knowledge stored in these woods have survived against insurmountable odds, offering a glimpse into civilizations that refused to be erased? The thought resonates like a tremor through the minds of those who seek answers, igniting a curiosity that borders on obsession. Such revelations challenge the very foundation of our understanding. If, tucked away in this labyrinth of trees, there's evidence of an alternate history, one where certain peoples or cultures survived cataclysmic events, where knowledge was deliberately hidden, then everything changes. It isn't merely about rediscovering relics or deciphering ancient texts. It's about confronting the possibility that much of our history was manipulated or lost, deliberately suppressed to maintain a certain narrative. Each fragment recovered, each relic unearthed, is a whisper of defiance against the erasure, a testament to resilience in the face of oblivion. Theories abound. Some believe that civilizations with advanced knowledge of energy, medicine, or technology buried their secrets deep within these woods, preserved in organic sigils or encoded in the very fibers of ancient trees. Others speculate that the so-called hidden knowledge was intentionally concealed by those who understood that some truths could destabilize power structures deeply rooted in control and suppression. If we are to believe what has been hinted at by secret societies or clandestine archives, then perhaps the very trees, standing as silent custodians, hold keys to unlock passages to this lost wisdom. In a way, it's almost poetic. These living monuments to time remain standing, unmoved, resisting the forces that try to hide what they contain. It's as if nature itself has become an archivist, safeguarding secrets in the layers of bark and root systems that weave beneath the forest floor. Could it be that by decoding these organic inscriptions, we unlock not only a historical account but also the potential to influence our present? The implications of such knowledge are profound: technological advancements, spiritual awakening, societal restructuring. If only we could fully comprehend what's been concealed in plain sight all along. And yet, the question persists: are we truly ready for these truths? The human mind, conditioned to accept the constructed narratives, might recoil at the enormity of what such a revelation entails. Perhaps that's why these stories have been hidden for so long, tucked away in the quiet depths of nature's sanctuary, waiting for the brave or the desperate enough to seek them out. The risk of upheaval is immense. Disturbing these ancient edifices of knowledge could ignite conflicts that ripple through history's fabric, unraveling the delicate tapestry of modern civilization. Still, the urge to seek, to uncover what's veiled in the shadows of these trees, persists. There's a flicker of hope that, buried within the whispers of leaves rustling in the wind, lies the answer to questions humanity has pondered for centuries. Could we, perhaps, still find the complete story hidden in the trees, waiting to reveal itself to those courageous enough to listen? It's a tantalizing thought, a doorway into understanding not just our ancestors, but the survival instinct of human consciousness itself. This journey of discovery isn't purely academic. It's a quest rooted deep within the collective subconscious longing for truth and meaning. Every step forward, every fragment examined, is a crack in the illusion that history is fully known. We walk a path littered with ambiguity, where every discovery raises new questions rather than answers, an endless echo that challenges us to consider what we might be missing, What truths are still huddled in the shadows, waiting to be brought into the light? As the camera lingers on the intricate textures of bark and root systems, a symbolic reminder of the hidden layers still concealed beneath the surface, the narrative unfolds into the larger story, one of survival against all odds, of knowledge preserved in the organic continuity of life. These woods are not just silent witnesses, they are active keepers of memory, repositories of a truth that refuses to be silenced. And perhaps, in their silent vigil, lies the key to unlocking an entire universe of understanding, if only we dare to listen. In this silent, sacred space, the possibilities stretch infinitely, alternate histories waiting to be unearthed, survival stories buried in time, and the hope that knowledge, long thought lost, is merely hidden and waiting to be rediscovered. But more than everything, it's about that relentless curiosity, a hope that somewhere amidst the swirling leaves and tangled roots, the complete story remains. Waiting for the right mind, brave enough and determined enough, not to erase, but to remember. To finally hear what the trees have been whispering all along. In the hush of twilight, as the shadows stretched long and the evening mist wove its silent tapestry through the tangled woods, the lingering sense of unanswered questions clung to the air like a heavy fog. The forest, once a place of life and mystery, now seemed to whisper secrets in a language only the shadows understood. And in this quiet, something unresolved remained, an echo of stories past that refused to fade into silence. As we stand amidst the thickets and broken remnants of what once was, the image of the abandoned Roanoke colony flickers in our mind's eye. The treacherous silence after discovery, a single word carved into a post, Croatoan, and just that. No signs of a struggle, no bodies, no clear explanation. Only that cryptic marker, glowing faintly in the dim light, an invitation or perhaps a warning, an age-old puzzle that has haunted historians and thrill-seekers alike. But what truly happened in that wilderness? Did the colonists vanish into the woods, absorbed into the landscape? Or was there something more sinister lurking beneath the canopy? Theories abound, each more tantalizing than the last. Some say they fell victim to native tribes, their fate sealed in an uneasy alliance turned sour. Others believe they were driven away by hostile forces, forced to abandon their settlement and scatter into the unforgiving wilderness. A few whisper about supernatural forces, spirits angry and restless, guarding secrets buried beneath centuries of moss and decay. Yet, no definitive proof has ever emerged, just stories, conjectures, and the haunting silence of the forest itself. The land holds its secrets tightly, refusing to give up its truths. We walk among the remnants of wooden posts and blurred pathways, feeling the weight of history pressing down. Every rustling leaf and distant bird call seems to echo the unanswered questions, as if the very environment conspires to keep the mystery alive. What was it about this particular place that made the colonists disappear so completely? Was it the wilderness itself, an almost sentient force capable of swallowing entire settlements? Or perhaps an unseen hand led them away, into the shadows of legend and myth? Some stories suggest that the colonists ventured deep into the woods, driven by desperation, searching for a way back to civilization, only to be lost forever among the ancient trees. Others speculate they were forced to assimilate into native tribes, their identities erased in a web of silent complicity and survival. And then there's the chilling thought: what if what they left behind was not a physical place, but a message, a warning left etched into the fabric of the forest itself? A cipher waiting to be unraveled? Every theory is plausible, yet none can fully explain the enigma that remains. As the night approaches, the atmosphere thickens with a sense of finality. The silence seems to echo the collective uncertainty that has endured for centuries. Countless search parties, archaeologists, and researchers have peeled back layers of earth and history, but the core of the mystery remains untouched. Perhaps it's meant to be that way. Perhaps some stories are destined to remain shrouded in darkness, their truths buried beneath layers of time and nature. And so, as we turn away from the remnants of the colony, what do you think happened? Did they walk away into the forest, disappearing into the annals of myth? Were they taken by unseen forces, or did they simply cease to exist, their stories swallowed by the wilderness? The unanswered questions leave a void that beckons us to imagine the possibilities, to fill the silence with our own theories. What if they are still out there, hiding in plain sight, their stories waiting to be uncovered? Or perhaps the forest has claimed them, not as victims, but as part of its ancient, eternal fabric. Maybe the truth is buried beneath layers of earth and memory, accessible only to those brave enough to venture into the shadows and listen to the whispers of the woods. So we leave you with this. The mystery of Roanoke continues to elude us, a haunting testament to the enigmatic power of the unknown. Every new discovery, every fragment of history, only deepens the intrigue. The forest keeps its secrets, stories of those lost, of civilizations vanished, of answers forever out of reach. Now it's your turn. What do you think happened to the Roanoke colony? Did they vanish into the wilderness, or was there another truth lurking beyond what we can see? Your theories, your stories, they matter. Because in the end, the real mystery isn't just what was lost, but what remains to be uncovered. And perhaps, someday, someone will look into these woods again, listen carefully, and maybe, just maybe, find the story that has been waiting in the shadows all along. But for now, the woods hold their secrets close, and the question lingers: what is the secret left in the forest?